Hey everybody, it's Jazzy the Video Store Sasquatch here for our Throwback Thursday. And it's a special Throwback Thursday because it's a horror movie and we're looking at Josh Hartnett for the next two videos, and then after that there'll be two more videos for streaming Saturday. We'll be looking at M. Night Shyamalan, and the reason why we're doing that is because this Sunday, for my one movie I go to, I'm gonna go see Trap, which stars Josh Hartnett and is an M. Night Shyamalan experience. This movie is Faculty. It was way back in 1998. It was directed by Robert Rodriguez. It was stars Jordana Brewster as Delilah, Clay Duvall as Stokely, Laura Harris as Mary Beth Louise Hutchinson, Josh Hartnett as Zeke, Sean Hannity as Stan, Salma Hayek as Nurse Rosa. Just a lot more stars that are still working today. This movie is just the basic start for about what we had one, two, three, four, five people I listed besides Selma Hayek, who's already been established at this point through other movies. This was the start for them. This movie came out in '98, like I said. This is let's see here. This is all about the '90s. Trust me. We have 15 million here as a budget. We had the gross of 40 million. IMDb gave it a 6.6. I went ahead and put a horror movie. So when I talk about horror movies having so many genres, this is just another genre that they have. So far, we've gone through the comedy one. We went with a more serious one, like a sexual STD one, or a ghost or paranormal experience one. We don't really know what to name it. Follows. Today, this is the alien body snatching one. It's I gave it a alien horror movie, a B minus overall C plus. Um, the faculty at this high school gets overran by this alien, and the kids kind of find out about it. The kids, including Zeke, um, Casey Connor, who's Elijah Wood, who I didn't list. So that's another person working today. But he would have again been already established by then. He'd have just been going on to do Lord of the Rings probably, but he was a kid actor, so he was more famous. Casey Connor, Stan, Delilah, Mary Louise Hutchinson, Mary Beth Louise Hutchinson, no whole hell name there. They all are figured out. They kind of fight back against it. The first kind of one we see is the coach get abducted by someone. We don't know who it is. At first, we later find out who it is. And we see that he got transformed. We go into the principal. We see this is the most brutal one. It's hard to put a kill counter on this because you say that they kill, and they don't really kill because after they kill, they put the alien parasite in you and you live. And it doesn't really say at the end of the movie how many of these people actually died. You would assume the principal would have, the coach, a couple other ones. So we'll probably get like five or six maybe. Um, you can see the English teacher is definitely involved. So now we know three people for sure before we even meet the students. And when we meet the students, we get all the groups here. We get the goth girl with Clea, and that is Stokely. We get the top girl, Delilah. We get the quarterback, Stan. We get the nerd, Elijah Wood. The new girl, Mary Beth Louise. Josh Hartnett, the kid who's way too cool for school, knows everything, way too smart to be in this high school. There's no way like these kids exist. This is a '90s movie. I remember this is the articulate '90s teen horror movie. Scream falls in that category. I know what you did last summer. They're very well read horror movies for some reason. And not only are they well read in horror movies, they're well read in books. They should they kind of show off Josh Hartnett by trying to flirt with one of the teachers, who's Famke Jensen, who does a little later on would do X Men about 2 years later from this movie. So there's another one. So yeah, we kind of see that, and then Stan having a midlife crisis, telling him that he's not going to play quarterback no more, and that kind of deals with the coach. He goes into the coach's office, and that's when we really know that the coach is kind of taking over because he just kind of gives him this weird smile and he talks about the human experience and all this stuff. So it's like, what the hell? There ain't no way that coach is gonna do all that. This is also where we see the first example of a rejection from the alien, and that is an older lady. We kind of hear the later thing while we're hiding in the closet with Casey and Delilah. basically she was just so old and her body was dehydrated because these things feed on water. That's what kind of what happened with her. Casey kind of discovers that with Jon Stewart. There's a lot of foreshadowing in this movie, which is kind of funny. You wouldn't expect it in a horror movie like this, but every time you meet a character, they're either explaining the way they die or their importance to the movie. So if you've never seen this movie, you go back and watch it just from this. Just think about that every time you meet a new character, especially when you see a character once and then you see him again, see the different, like look for the little subtle differences. And if you really want to have fun next time when you go to work or you're just walking around tomorrow or after you watch this, just start watching people, like just thinking about like, well, this motherfucker, this is aliens. You're gonna fucking kind of go crazy, and that's what these kids kind of go through. Eventually, the cops get called here in the movie. They don't believe him, of course. The coach even kind of comments to the dad, who is Shooter McGavin, that hey, he could be an athlete. He runs so good. Like it's this kind of weird stuff like you wouldn't expect. Even the dad kind of gave him a smirk, like, yeah, okay, I know better. And I really like Shooter McGavin as the dad here. He has a real name. I'm sure I could learn it, but I'm gonna call him Shooter. Shooter here, he is a perfect like dad. I thought he was a stepdad, but he has to be the dad for Elijah Wood, and you can just tell all over his face that he's like just disappointed with this kid, and he wanted so much more for his kid. And Elijah Wood was not on fulfilling his promise as a son to this guy. So it's kind of a little story there. There's a lot of good stuff in this movie. We were told back in the day that Josh Hartnett was the next big thing. And if you kind of look at this years of 97, 98, 99, 2000, we got H2O. We get the movie with Hollywood Homicide with Harrison Ford. There's just 40 days of night, 40 days or whatever, the Lent movie. We kind of get a lot of movies here just with Josh Hartnett involved to kind of sprout his stardom. And then later on in life, he kind of comes in sporadically. I think that original stardom was a lot for him, especially when you think about just a lot of the pressures that they're on, and some of the movies that he did do, like Hollywood Homicide, was kind of more of a bomb for Harrison Ford and stuff like that, and didn't get rated well. So he kind of had some of that sting, but he's back now. I mean, he's been back for a while now. I think the first movie I saw him in like 5 years, maybe 4 years, was the movie with Jason Statham. Can't think of it. But it's not important. But he was in that. It was a bank robber movie. He was very good in that. And then it kind of moved on, and now we kind of get this cool like call you come around or whatever with his horror movie background because he's in five or 3 or 4 for sure. I can think of in my head probably more like 5 or 6 good horror movies. I think a good horror series. So he kind of followed into that line. So this would probably be fun to watch him in a trap with this M. Night Shyamalan. This is definitely a '90s movie, like I said earlier. You get the '90s music in the background. Just amazing. The one thing that is cool about this movie is it's not a football movie, but it's one of the cooler football montage scenes when the one high school that the coach with all the alien parasite students just demolishes the other team. They're affecting the other ones, the other students. I really don't know how that goes well with what they're doing because like they're just whomping ass. Like they could be really good at the alien parasite team, the only alien parasite team in the high school division. But they did pass it on, so eventually you got to think that team's going to be good that they passed it on to for their teams. Joking. And then at the end of the movie, they kind of wrote it off as like a hallucination or all together around like Salem witch trial type deal where it was massive story of some sort, and that's why I don't think that anyone really died because how could like 3 or 4 people die, and then they were just like, well, it was a mass hysteria. The crowd took over, and we lost the principal. We lost the. I mean, it is the '90s. You got to remember, this kid. No one believed this kid what this kid was saying. This kid could have been saying anything in the '90s. And the parents were ready to just ship his ass off in the movie to wherever. And I'm sure it happened a lot in the '90s. It's a different time, different time. I'd love to see this movie today. I'd love to see it for a lot of reasons. Um, I'm gonna name like 3 right now that are just kind of would be funny to me. The political reason, obviously. I love to see which side it goes to which side's the alien parasite side, which side's not the alien parasite side. I'd like to see what what would they take out, because in this movie they took out the anger from a lot of the kids and a lot of the aggression. So would they take out some of the stuff that's going on in normal day society? Would they make them more aggressive? On the third thing, I probably lock myself in a list of three things here. But there probably could be another third thing. The football one, the football scenes would just be worth it to me, just because this movie is ahead of its time. As the fireworks going on while people are getting tackled, I would just go see it. I would just go find scenes of that just to watch it, because it is pretty impressive. Of course, I'm just joking. I don't know a third thing other than those other two things, but I'm sure that there are people a lot smarter than me that write these things that can do it. This is obviously an homage to Body Snatchers. Um, I mean, they don't even bother telling you otherwise. They kind of use all of the information that we got in Body Snatchers to this type of deal here. I like the premise of the movie. Robert Rodriguez, we know who he is. He's done movie after movie, especially in the horror genre. From Dusk Till Dawn, the Hostels. He does a series now on A&E2. The Preacher, I think he's a producer or something like that. So he just has a great lineage here. This has a great lineage of actors from back in the day. It's definitely a go check it out if you have never seen it, especially if you love horror movies. Like, I understand that like a lot of people like this movie would be 28 years ago, 27 years ago, 29 years ago, something like there, somewhere around 29, 27 years ago. Sorry, I'm trying to do math in my head to do this video, but so think about it like that. And yeah, I mean, I had fun watching it. I always have fun watching this movie. I had to pay $3.99, I think, on Amazon. I'm kind of surprised it's not on anything. Tubi would be one thing I'm really surprised it's not on, because Tubi has a lot of these type of movies. Just I'd go ahead and try and find it. I'd check it out. It's worth the money, especially if you're kind of leading up and want to kind of watch some horror movies that Josh Hartnett was on. Get yourself ready for Trap, which I definitely am trying to do. I am ready for this movie. Tomorrow night we have Horror Night in the Cave, and that movie will be 30 Days a Night from Josh Hartnett, and then we got the streaming Saturday, which will be Knock at the Cabin for sure. Right now, we're thinking about doing Watchers. The problem with Watchers, I can only find it for like $19.99. So unless it's in the theater where it'd be cheaper to go, I'm probably not going to go ahead and watch it. I'm just going to be honest with you guys until it's a little bit cheaper, and we'll put it on streaming Saturday later on and kind of remind you why we did it. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Have a good rest of your night. Have a great rest of your week. And please comment any 90s horror movie that you like. I love all the horror movies in the 90s. It's very great. It's great, very great aesthetic. Especially I like the new like movies that are coming out today that are in the 90s. That we kind of get back to see a little bit of the 90s stuff, a little bit of the 90s aesthetic. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and have a good rest of your night. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Comment your top movie picks for Throwback Thursday in the comments section. And see you next time in the cave.